everything in the socialist system is sort of top down. It's imposed from the top down. It's command and control. It's antithetical to this sort of process. And so the thing is the only way that you can get that is that you have to start tearing down the existing institutions so that you can start over, right? Because everything that a sort of socialist society wants to do, and the reason it's been so hard to get people on board for that in the United States, is it's antithetical to the American way. The American people instantly hear that argument and go, nope, that's not us, right? In ways that doesn't happen in other places. And again, that's another interesting question, is like, why aren't people in the United States, susceptible to this as much as other people have been? But so now what you have, though, is that, there's this recognition that Americans are resistant to this idea. But for some reason, no one reflects on this and thinks, well, maybe there's something here, right? Like maybe there's something that important that I could learn from the fact that they're so resistant. Instead, what you have is you have this desire to, well, okay, what the problem is you've got all these institutions that have kind of all evolved over time. They're pretty, they came from sort of decentralized processes and kind of ended up in this kind of centralized framework that we call the United States government. And so like now what we need to do is like, we just need to start undermining these institutions, because once the institutions break down, then people will be looking for a solution. And boy, have we got the solution for them, right? And I think that this is extremely dangerous. I think this is really, really bad. And I don't like that this has become mainstream. I don't like that these ideas are suddenly super popular, because we know how this plays out. We know how this ends. We know what this is going to be. Like, we can look at North and South Korea. We have a natural experiment that we can look at. Like, pull up a map of North Korea and South Korea at night. Pull up the map and look at the map at night. It looks like South Korea is an island off the coast of China, right? Because North Korea has no lights. They have no lights because they're poor. They are poor because they are a communist country. Like, this is, it's not that the South Koreans are harder workers than the North Koreans. It's not that they have a different climate for growing food. It's not that they have a different natural resource endowment. It's not any of these things that people claim are the reasons that one place is rich and another place is not. It can't be any of those things by definition. What it is it's a difference in their economic system. It's not even you can't even argue that it's a difference in their political system, because for a long time, the South Koreans had a pretty authoritarian political system, but they had a market-based economic system. And so the idea here is that, it's predominantly driven by that. We have this evidence. We know how this plays out. We can look around the world. We can see what countries are rich and what countries are poor. And we can dig into the questions of why that is. And when you dig into those questions, you quickly realize that a lot of the things that people are selling you and that people are promising you are not only not going to work and not going to solve your problems, they're actually going to make you much more like the poor countries.
First of all, killer rant, Professor. I wish I could go back in time and study under you, because boy, I would have been maybe a little bit more inspired than during my engineering classes in college. But one thing I really want to poke at that you said there, because I think this is really the dumbfounding thing and the just maddening thing to me, is this idea that we know how we've seen this movie before. We know how this story plays out. Anyone, in my mind, like it's crazy, for example, for somebody in the year 2026 to be like, yep, I'm a Nazi. You're like, what the fuck, man? Like, that's super messed up. We're going to like shun you. Like, that is right. Like, are you kidding? You're a Nazi after every, like, geez, like, okay, there's something wrong with you. Like, you should be shunned, right? Similarly, we should treat self-proclaimed communists and socialists that way. It's an ideology that's responsible for, conservatively, 100 million dead in the last century, conservatively. Like, that's just like attributable first order, like between, like that's a conservative estimate. 100 million ballpark, right? You're advocating for an ideology that has killed at least 100 million people in the last century. But for some reason, that one is academically and politically palatable. You won't be an academic if you're like, yep, I'm a Nazi. You won't be in politics if you say, yep, I'm a Nazi. Now, they love to call everyone a Nazi, right? They love to do that. But you can be very in vogue if you say, yep, I'm a communist. Like, wow, of course you are. You must be so cultured, and what a man or woman of the people, right? And it's just insane to me. Like, we should treat communists and socialists with that same contempt that we would treat somebody who's like, yep, I'm a Nazi. Like, this is just nuts to me that this has become so, to your point earlier, socialism being so normalized, despite not just the historical evidence. Like, to be a socialist, to be a communist, you not only have to be economically illiterate or in denial, you have to be historically illiterate or ignorant as well. You also then have to just not use your eyes and ears in the present, because as you said, we have a literal, still running longitudinal study on this that is the Korean Peninsula. We have it. It's right there. We can look at it and see that if anyone listening to this, if you've never seen the space images from space of North Korea and South Korea at night, like, it, just Google North Korea, South Korea nighttime. Like, it should tell you everything you need to know. But somehow these ideologies are so insidious that they have managed to still gain purchase even after they fail every single time, even after they lead to unimaginable amounts of death and destruction, even after they lead to societal collapse every single time, even after they ultimately lead to the subjugation of the people. This isn't the free, people have this idea that, like, communism is like, oh, well, then I'll be free to be an artist. It's like, no, you won't. You're picking cabbage, Brad. Like, you are picking cabbage because we said you're picking cabbage. Also, there's no more cabbage. And I hope you like spinach. There's also no more spinach now. But Carla, my incredible wife, was born just after the fall of a communist country, in that formerly communist country. Her parents, at different times defected from that communist country. It was Romania. I think she's been pretty public about the fact that she's Romanian. It is not like, you talk to anybody who lived through communism, they don't speak about it highly, shockingly. It's also this really weird thing where people always seem to flee from communist or socialist nations. They never flee to them, unless you're like Hassan Piker, right? And then, you go and stay at a 5-star hotel in Cuba while the rest of the country's out of power, but you still have power. So it's okay. Champagne socialists, right? But this is the insane thing that I don't understand why people can't grapple. It's like, nobody's fleeing to Cuba. Nobody's fleeing to North Korea. Nobody is fleeing to any communist country. People always try to escape them. And I cannot fathom. Maybe it's just because, like, there is so much socialism already ingrained into our political and economic system. There is already so much, even in America, we have, like, a lot of it, right? Look at entitlement programs. Like, people say, like, oh, we need to do more for it's like, do you know how much of our budget goes to just entitlements? Like, it's a lot. Maybe it's because that has become so normalized that people think, well, that's part of capitalism somehow. This mismanagement, this top-down is actually part of capitalism. Maybe it's the fact that we just, people don't actually understand what capitalism, or is maybe better to say, like, what a free market looks like, because we haven't actually seen something that looks like that in modern memory. America is like the closest, but it's still not, right? We still have a central bank, which Marx would have loved. Like, it's frustrating to no end, because you see these people so confidently saying, like, we just need to tax the rich, and we need to implement, and socialist policies, it's always framed as, this is like the more empathetic thing to do. This is like, I care so much. I care so much about other people, which is why I'm a socialist, right? And it's like, it's just so backwards. I don't know if, maybe just because most people are stupid too. And like, that's just, it's, same as it ever was. I don't know. But if anything makes me a little nihilistic, and I'm quite an optimist, I'm a staunch optimist, but if anything makes me a little nihilistic, it's the recurrent trend of people wanting to go back to socialism, despite all the evidence to the contrary that shows us this is a deadly, disastrous ideology. And I don't know if that ever goes away. I don't know.